So now let's talk about the background of the study. When we think about scholarly research, we think about prior studies or a framework or a theory or identified problems. And what these do is provide rationale or focus for our study. When the background work is well done, the focus can put the study on the cutting edge of knowledge. When it's poorly done, it may repeat questions that have been asked over and over, or pursue an inquiry that is proven fruitless. In other words, there's really not much of a point. So while focus allows for intensification of the investigation, it also inevitably delimits the generalizations that can be made from the study. So since most research is based partly on a review of prior research, the lit review may be used to test a speculation before you put a lot of time and expense into researching a particular thing, or your lit review may have provoked thought of the research by identifying a problem that could benefit from this research. You may have an aha moment. That happens. The review can also be used to scout a conceptual framework, theories, or methods that might be useful in the research. And if the research article or detailed report that you pulled doesn't reference prior research on the topic, you might want to be a little skeptical because perhaps the investigator did a quickie or amateur-esque study. So the terms theory and conceptual framework are used in various ways by research. Usually a conceptual framework refers to a set of concepts applicable to a given phenomena. Why did this happen? Or why does this happen? Or why would this happen? So the problem makes the research of importance. The problem may be a gap in established knowledge, or an apparent inconsistency or contradiction in present knowledge. Could be a lack of conceptual framework, or inadequacies in a theory. Just because somebody's put a theory out there, theory doesn't mean that it is irrefutable, that it can't be argued with. There are lots of theories in behavioral settings that have been refuted by further research, or things that have been established going forward that just simply weren't true. So, when you're assessing, you want to make sure you know, 1, what is the problem that the study is addressing? If you can't identify what the problem the study is addressing, then you have to say, so what? What of it? What value is it? The second question you want to make sure that you ask is, what is the conceptual framework or theories that informed this study? In other words, what's the basis? And again, answering the question, so what? So, now when we talk about assessing the questions or the hypotheses that are addressed, we have to think about 4 common types of research questions, and some of this you've already talked about, and which type of question has the critical implications for the appropriate research design. So we've got descriptive questions about the characteristics of something, and an example of this could be, what is the average math achievement of the nation's 4th graders? That's a good question. So then we have associational questions, and these are about categorical differences or correlations. And an example might be, how does the math achievement of the nation's 4th grade Hispanic youth compare with that of the nation's 4th grade African American youth? Pretty important to understand in comparison. Causal questions. What are the causes observed in differences or changes? So an example of this in the context of what we've been talking about is, what accounts for the wide variation in math achievement among 4th grade Hispanic youth? These are talking about what causes this, and therefore we can say, in order to fix the problem, we have an idea of where to go. Our theory, our research is going to inform our practice. So these are pretty basic things that you can probably relate to and hear about all the time on the news. So then, probably the most important type of research assessment question that you're going to look at in terms of addressing the questions or the hypothesis within the research is benefit-cost questions. And what this is talking about is whether the benefits of a given intervention are worth more than the costs. Going back to our math example, we can say, do the benefits of Math Buster exercises exceed the costs of the computer laboratory, software, and laboratory supervision? Is the benefit/cost ratio of math explosion exercises greater than the benefit/cost ratio of after-school tutoring by the teachers? So those are some ways that you can look at research and say, how is this research going to help me make a decision or make an argument for or against a certain thing, X?